Lolly ho, fellow warriors of darkness! It's Haru here, and it's finally time for the Shadowbringers Ninja Opener and Rotation Guide. Please do bear in mind that with the release of the most recent live letter, this guide is subject to change based on whatever mechanical changes they make to Ninja in 5.1. This guide is aimed towards people that have reached level 80 as Ninja and already have a basic understanding of the mechanics of the Ninja job. Here I'll be presenting two openers, the standard 10-second trick opener and a 13-second trick opener that I've developed. I will also be giving general tips on rotation maintenance. Let me cut to the chase here and say that you should be learning and mastering the 10-second opener, as the Final Fantasy community is incredibly geared towards a 10-second trick attack. As such, I can only recommend using the 13-second opener if your entire group is building and optimizing around it, which is an unlikely scenario at best. That out of the way, let's go ahead and look at the openers, their pros and cons, and what to keep in mind during the rotation for each opener individually. First up, the 10-second opener. Just like in Stormblood, you'll always want to begin farther away from your training dummy to practice running up to the target. Since we're pre-casting Suiton, using Shukuchi in order to close distance is out of the question, as it will cause us to bunny. Your pre-pull for this opener consists of using Huton at around 10 seconds, using Hide to reset your mudras, popping Sprint, then using your potion before pre-casting Suiton. The timing for this changes from fight to fight, as the boss is not always a set distance away, so experimentation is encouraged. Aim for expending as little of your potion in the pre-pull as possible. The goal here is to get your Suiton to hit at the very same time that the countdown hits 0. From there, follow the opener as displayed on screen. As stated earlier, this opener is the standard, and the one you should be trying to master. Openers made in the Final Fantasy community are built around this specific timing for trick attack, so you will likely end up using it if you're raiding in Savage. This opener boasts some crazy high burst, and if your team is properly lining up their raid buffs, you'll very frequently find yourself on top of the DPS list for the first 20 or 30 seconds of a fight. That all being said, this opener is difficult to pull off with high ping, and you might find that your first trick attack timing, and subsequently every trick attack after that, can vary wildly if there are any instabilities in your inputs at all. Furthermore, this opener demands that you use your mudras the very moment that they come off of cooldown. Even a 1-second delay on your mudras can mean that you're drifting trick for a full GCD. Next, let's look at the 13-second opener. Same as before, we want to start with a run-up. We use Huton, reset with Hide, and then use Sprint. In this opener we use our potion post-pull, so we jump straight into pre-casting Suiton. Here we let Shadowfang fall off instead of trying to refresh early. This ensures that your Shadowfang refreshes will fall inside of Trick Attack from this point forward. As I said, this opener is non-standard, so you only want to use this if your group is building around it, if using the 10-second opener will force you to stand in a spot that will get you killed, or you're forced into a situation that requires you to use True North to hit your first trick attack. The 13-second opener uses quite a bit less double weaving than the 10-second opener, so it's a little friendlier to high ping. This opener also boasts marginally higher DPS in a vacuum. By marginally, I mean only about 100 or 2, so it's not significant enough to warrant using over the 10-second opener. This opener is also very easy to maintain. Simply use everything as it comes off cooldown with a priority on Ninjutsu and Ninki. You don't need to worry about holding Ninki, as Ninki will naturally line up with everything. Now that you've seen the openers, I want to talk about some general tips and things to keep in mind while executing your rotation. These are simply tiny optimizations to help you get the most out of your opener. Use Trick Attack on cooldown. Remember that Suiton lasts a whopping 20 seconds now, so you can prep for Trick Attack very early. Discuss Trick Attack with your group. There may be instances where your group prefers you to hold Trick Attack for X amount of GCDs after phase transitions. Make sure to ask about these types of things, as your group may just elect to suffer in silence if you don't bring it up. Practice the rotation, not just the opener. Getting the opener down is paramount to getting the rotation correct, but you should never stop after just completing the opener. Practicing in 3 to 5 minute spurts will help you get a better feel of what you need to be doing at specific points in your rotation. Use practice potions. Potion timing can be really weird feeling if you're not used to them, so I highly recommend using practice potions to get a feel for the timing. Potions of Dexterity can be bought from apothecaries in any of the starting cities for 106 gil. Use these inexpensive potions to help you get a feel for how to use them. Use potions before your trick attack window. Potions take up an OGCD slot that could otherwise be used for something that does damage, so always use them before your trick attack window begins. Be smart about Armor Crush. Huton knocks nearly a half a second off of your GCD, which is a massive DPS gain. Ideally, you want to be using Armor Crush at 40 to 30 seconds remaining on your Huton gauge, and also trying to make sure that you don't have to use Armor Crush inside of your trick window. Be smart about Ninjutsu Resets. You may find yourself in situations where you've used a ninjutsu and a ninjutsu reset becomes available halfway through the cooldown. If your ninjutsu is at or below 10 seconds on its cooldown, it's better to hold the reset until after you've used the hard cast to prevent yourself from losing a mudra, so long as it doesn't cause trick attack to drift. Meisui is situational. Ideally, you'll only want to use Meisui in the opener. It is much more effective to use Raiton as your ninjutsu hardcast and using your TCJ in the Doton combination. However, if you're forced to use the Suiton combination of TCJ due to boss movement, using Meisui can be a great way of recovering some of that lost damage. Abuse your extra move speed. Ninjas have additional move speed as a passive trait, meaning that you're able to pull out of AoEs slightly later than other melee. Use this to your advantage to gain extra GCDs if you feel that it is safe. Abuse Shukuchi. Shukuchi is an outstanding skill. This skill, coupled with your passive move speed, allows you to move further and with more freedom than other melee without losing GCDs. I personally have a Shukuchi to target macro as well as the standard ground target Shukuchi on my bar so that I can use it more freely. Ensure that your cooldowns remain aligned. Trick Attack, Kasatsu, Dream Within a Dream, and by proxy Assassinate are all on 60-second cooldowns. This means that all of these things should be within Trick Attack and coming out in roughly the same order every time. The only exception to this is Assassinate, as using Babakaka or Hyosho Ranryu will take priority. Keep Shadowfang up. Shadowfang is a ridiculous 50 potency a tick. Letting this fall off is a huge damage loss, so don't let it happen. Do not overcap Ninki. Managing Ninki is easier than ever now that it is tied to GCDs. Each point of overcap Ninki is effectively 5 lost potency, so this can add up very quickly. Don't let it overcap. Also remember that if you are at 60 Ninki and Mug happens to be up, you can double weave Mug with Babakakra to prevent yourself from overcapping. Use Shadeshift. During big AoE damage or heavy healing phases, Shadeshift can help your healers out quite a bit. Pay attention to Limit Break. Ninjas are generally the job responsible for using Limit Break. When it's about to come up, make sure that your Huton is refreshed, your dot is rolling, and you have sufficient time to use it without dying. Once you've done all of this, finish your current combo path since Limit Break resets your combo and let her rip. Hopefully, this guide is enough to set you up for success with Ninja. If there's something I haven't covered that you would like to know about, leave your question in the comments below and I'll try to answer it as soon as I am able. As always, if you'd like to see more ninja gameplay, come visit my stream at twitch.tv/yoshinoharu. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video or found it useful, and if there's anything you'd like to see in the future, let me know in the comments below. That's all I have for you guys for now, so I'll see you guys next time.